Welcome to Cheryl King Yoga. I'm Cheryl, this is Blue, and we're going to do just a quick class for hips and shoulders, opening up. Maybe before you start that long day of sitting in front of the computer, or at the end of the day, or even a break in between. So get on your yoga mat, get comfortable, or on the floor, wherever you are, some kind of cross-legged posture, and bring the hands to the lap. Close the eyelids down, just arriving. Finding the breath. Feel the breath in the full circumference of both nostrils. The air coming in and rolling out. Carrying that life force right in with the breath and back out. And as you sit, begin to notice any areas of tension. Perhaps you could bring the breath there. Simply arriving, coming into your body, your breath in this moment. Let's do a little opening for the neck. And for this, you'll just draw the chin toward the throat, and then begin this nice shoulder to shoulder. Big, gigantic, slow motion. No way. No, not even doing it. You can go faster or slower. We're just opening, lubricating this very specific joint at the top of the spine that allows this motion. I'm doing it with eyes closed. Do it as you like. Keep that chin in close to throat. And then we'll all meet with the chin at neutral. Feel your tailbone, the opposite end of the spine. Feel your tailbone drop down toward earth. And with your next inhale, feel the back of the skull lift toward the sky, elongating the spine. And then we'll begin a yes action for another joint here. Chin to throat. Chin comes up and out. Yes. At least starting in slow motion. Again, eyelids can be shut down. Just feeling in, bringing awareness to that joint. Really nice. We'll all meet with the chin toward the throat. And go ahead and let the forehead drop. See if you can feel the shoulder blades roll down the back. And then everyone roll the chin in toward the throat and roll the skull up to sit at the tippy top of the spine. You've arrived. Beautiful. We're going to bring the hands, sweep them back so that the hands come behind the hips. And I'm up on fingertips here behind the hips. In fact, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see a little bit better. So I'm sitting here, I've got nice curves of the spine, and then I'm bringing the fingers back, really opening up the chest. The collarbones are reaching in opposite directions. I'm going to reach up with my sternum, this bone between the ribs on that front side, and reach up with your throat and your chin. The gaze comes up. And there's a little arch in the back as we reach. Keep breathing here. Shoulder blades roll down the back. If you have a lot of room, you can even walk the hands toward one another. Find your comfortable spot. And then we're going to release this. So ever so slowly, let's start by tucking the tail. Allow the hands to return to the lap. And then that chin comes back in toward the throat as if the back of the skull is lifting up toward the sky. Bring the right hand to the left thigh. Left hand crosses over at the top, at the upper arm, to the right thigh. Feel that nice rounding in the back. And then let the arms lift, and we can bring the hands to the shoulders, or backs of hands meet. This is one option. This is a second option. A third option is that the hands come into a full bind, Garudasana arms. Any of these are great. They all serve the same purpose. So find what works for you. Gently lift the elbows and send the hands out if you're in this pose with the hands toward the ceiling. If hands are on shoulders, just lift the elbows. And then fully release wherever you are. Bring the arms back out and all the way back where they were, behind the hips, up on fingertips. Nice little arch in the back. Collars are wide, sternum, throat, chin, reaching up toward the stars. And breathing. We'll take 3 breaths here. And begin to release by dropping the tailbone down toward earth, even scooping it under. Hands return to the lap. This time, left hand crosses to right thigh, and right arm crosses over. And then again, arms come up and hands come to shoulders, or backs of hands meet, or palms, and we lift. No matter which shape you're in, you'll gently lift the elbows, tailbone roots down, face is soft, jaw is released, the chin is moving in toward the throat. And maybe if your hands are up, you direct the hands lightly forward. Feel that beautiful stretch across the shoulder blades, upper back. And then we'll all release the hands back down. And maybe let the elbows be heavy, rain the fingers all the way down. Beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and come onto all fours. If you have a blanket, you wanna put it under your knees for support, that's just fine. I don't really need it, but I do wanna invite you to get a block, a blanket, or something that you can have at about this height. So here's a blanket folded over nice and firm. Here's a block. Either of these will do for when we come onto our backs. I'm gonna go ahead and come onto all fours now. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips, and just give a little wag of the tail. We want to find tailbone reaching backward, tops of feet pressing into earth, back of skull reaching forward. Hands are splayed open, fingers are wide, index fingers pointing toward the front of the mat. And we're just going to take a little circle here. So let's bring the whole torso toward the right hand, and then circle around toward the left hand. Hips reach back for left heel, right heel, and just continue with this circling. And you can make this as exaggerated a circle or as small a circle as you like. We'll circle one more time. And then we'll begin to circle the other direction. So find a place to pause. I'm pausing at the right hand. Here come the hips, back to each heel, and then toward each hand. And we'll all meet in a nice neutral tabletop, just as we started. All right. Pressing tops of feet, clawing fingertips so that you can really feel that opening of the hands. You're not just dumping into the wrist. And the final bit is to draw the navel up toward the spine. All right, we're going to come all the way down onto the belly, and you can get here as you like. Arms forward. We're going to come into baby cobra, and this is to open the legs and the upper back and neck. So just as I'm doing here, just reaching one leg, stretching it back, opening up hip flexor, and then the other. And then we'll bring the forehead to the earth, and the hands, open palms, will come to each side of the chest. Elbows reaching gently toward one another. And roll your head as if you're rolling it toward the hairline. So the chin is moving in toward the throat. On your next inhale, press the tops of the feet into the earth. Pull the hands back. Shoulder blades roll down the back, and we inhale up just like we did sitting. Sternum engaged, throat, chin, all reaching forward. Exhale, rounding back down. Inhale, pulling the hands back. Shoulder blades roll down the back. Sternum gaze, chin, throat up. Exhale, rolling back down. We're strengthening, we're opening. You can feel the collarbones widen, but also really utilizing these upper back muscles, neck and throat muscles. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Take 2 more of these on your own. Really pressing so that all 10 toenails are finding the mat. Beautiful. Curl the toes under. Woo. Press into hands on floor to come all the way up through all fours and then up into downward facing dog. Just a nice little tiny dog here. Maybe walking the dog one heel at a time, reaches for the earth. The back of the skull is reaching down, tailbone reaching up, so you get that nice long line on your spine. Really beautiful. Coming up maybe on the toes just to feel the stretch. And then we'll bring the knees down. Bring the knees together. Send the toes up. Wag the toes side to side. Feel those hips opening. That's just a nice way to come to sit here on the mat, because we're coming all the way over onto our backs. And this is where you'll need the block or the blanket. I'm going to use the block for simplicity. Feet on the earth. Constructive rest posture. Knees are bent, soles of feet find the earth, and the feet are hip width apart, which basically just means that they're about a fist width apart. It's really narrow. So right above your tailbone is your sacrum, that sort of triangle-shaped fused bones above the tailbone. We want to set this block on the lowest level, like this, or facsimile, something like this. And we're going to set the tailbone and the sacrum right up on the block. So pressing feet into earth, we're going to tip the tail up and lift. And then here comes the block. And I want some of the cheek hanging over, right? I just want that tailbone and sacrum here. And what we're looking for, and you can adjust your block accordingly, we're looking for just a little tilt from pubic bone to navel. We want the pubic bone slightly above the navel. All these internal organs are sliding down toward the low ribs. That's what we're after. Let's bring the right knee in toward the chest. Little flexion on the right foot. We're going to send the left heel, dig it into the mat, and send it long. This is all about the left hip flexor. And if you've been sitting for most of the day,
you're just going to be so divinely happy. You might roll the shoulder blades under. You can hold on to this right knee for a little further stretch in the left hip flexor. Extend the back of the skull away from the neck. Jaw is soft. I have my left foot flexed, reaching the heel toward the wall in front of me. But eventually I'm just going to relax that, really stretching open. This big, beautiful group of muscles, the psoas, that connect the upper body to the femur, to the lower body. And this is a meditation of its own. Maybe you bring the breath into this hip area, inflating as you inhale. Exhale and softening. Two more breaths here. And then we'll draw that heel back up, foot plants on the floor. Release the right knee. And just pause to feel into the difference, left hip flexor versus right hip flexor. Just noticing. Adjusting your block as we prepare to come to the other side if needed. You might be like, oh yeah, so I have this much cheek hanging off the end, right off the end toward my heels, but my tailbone and sacrum are on the block, and I'm finding that little tilt. I'm drawing the left knee in toward the chest, a little flexion in the foot, and making sure you feel that hollowing out in the low belly. So pubic bone is above navel. And then here goes the right heel, all the way stretching long, beautiful stretch. Maybe holding on to this left shin. Really stretching right heel forward. And then I'm going to release the right heel and just let this whole right hip flexor release. Inhaling into the right hip, feeling it inflate with the in-breath. And then softening and releasing with the out-breath. And keeping your gaze here, your internal gaze on that right hip. Also spend a little bit of your attention in the shoulders and neck, seeing if you can relax those areas. Just let the breath take care of the hip. The rest of the body can be at ease. Jaw released by parting the lips. Eyes are soft. And we'll take our last full breath here. Let's draw that right heel back up the mat. Plant the foot. Really press into that right foot to feel that bringing balance and rootedness, and then we'll drop the left foot. Feel into both sides. Press both feet into the mat. Really press enough to lift the hips up, remove the block, and then ever so gently rounding the spine, coming all the way down. Palms turn up toward the ceiling. Take 5 breaths here. Relaxing shoulders, stretching back of skull away from neck. Maybe scooping the tail to bring the low back down to the floor. Part the lips, even open the mouth wide. And then release. Soften the brow. And staying in this position or adjusting your shape to a full Shavasana with legs long on the mat. We'll return to the breath here, letting the feet splay open, palms turn to sky, and feeling that in-breath in the full circumference of both nostrils, and out-breath. Maybe rolling the shoulder blades down. Five breaths here. Beautiful. As you're ready, rock and roll yourself back up to sitting. Thank you for joining me. I know your hips and shoulders are thanking